YouTube and all those places.
Here's the story of a bunch of podcasts who were bringing Cubby content to the world. All of them did their own show. Unconnected, obsessive baseball nerds. It's the story of a bunch of Cubs fans who are consolidating all their shows. They're uniting, doing it together, so we all can grow. Cup of Cubby Blues combining with Sunranto, baseball rabbit hole and Cubs PS Plus. With Cubs Pod and Briggs behind the ivy, they're all teaming up to be the Bleacher Bunch, the Bleacher Bunch. We love the Cubs, that's the way we became the Bleacher Bunch.
All right. Hello, TikTok. Hello, Facebook. Hello, YouTube. Hello, Twitch. Hello, X. Danny Rockett. I'm solo tonight. We didn't really have a show planned, and the Royals lost, so nobody feels like doing a show. But I figure that the people out there in Ranter, Bleacher Bunch Landia might want... Oh, hello, MySpace. Yeah, is MySpace watching? Shout out to MySpace. Hi, Caitlin. Yeah, we're just going live to talk about the Cubs today. They lost 2 of 3 to the Royals at home, which is total BS. Even my cat is crying about it. She's like, why are you doing a show right now when I could be outside enjoying my summer evening chasing birds and rats? But instead, you're going to sit here talking about the Cubs. Like, what kind of nonsense is that? Anyway, I'm just kind of open to conversations about the Chicago Cubs this evening, and but I do have a few ideas of things that are probably on all of our minds, and that is, I saw a rumor today about Eugenio Suarez to the Yankees, and I know Cub fans, we all live in our little Cub bubble, and so we all think that we're going to get Eugenio Suarez, right? Because of course he'd want to be a Cub. Well, you tell me. If you grow up, little baseball player, and you're not a New Yorker and you're not a Chicagoan, do you really care which team you play for? No. You want to go to whatever team is going to give you the most money and have the best chance at winning. And I think the Cubs could be that team. I think that also the Yankees are that team, and they also have Aaron Judge. All right, hold on. My cat's going to make an appearance. Come here, kitty. Get over here. Maybe she'll boost my ratings. But my point being, and please, I want to hear what everybody has to say in the chat about this, because if you're not going to, do the yearly third baseman cleanse, which I don't really think you have to, because Matt Shaw, I'm not going to make a whole lot out of the 3 games that he did play, but at every other level that he's ever hit at, he's been good, and he's been able to find out how to hit at every single level. And he was a wooden bat league guy. So it's not like this is the first time he's been doing that since college or something like that. No, he was in the minors for long enough. He's seasoned enough at this point. All right, let me see if I can get my cat. See, she does not want to be on air. But see, she's got 2 GPSs on because she's insane, and I will lose her otherwise. So here's a cat appearance. Oh, she is not happy with me. She really wants me to let her out, but I'm not gonna. So as far as I'm concerned, Matt Shaw's your guy. Do you need another righty bat? I think you could get that from some place else if the Eugenio Suarez thing doesn't work out. But, all I know, Pat Hughes saying Eugenio Suarez, I'm here for it. And I'm also here for all the dongs he hits against the Cubs being for the Cubs. So, we got in the chat over here, we got, first of all, David Elliott says, what's the cat's name? I forget. Also, we don't care about the Cubs until the cat makes an appearance. Yes, that is true. Well, the cat has made an appearance, so now we're caring about the Cubs. And Terry E says, D-backs supposedly want pitching. Who do the Cubs have in their system that Jed would give up for a rental? I mean, any of them. Whoever they'd be interested in from our system, really. Maybe they want Javier Assad. Can I interest you in a slightly used Javier Assad? No, I don't know who they would want. Jackson Wiggins, people have said, Ben Brown, that Tom's saying in the chat. And, if you want Ben Brown, by all means, if you think you can do something with Ben Brown, gladly take you can take him off our hands, and you could have him, and we'll have Eugenio Suarez. I don't even know what's Eugenio Suarez's contract say, because I want to know how long we'd have Eugenio Suarez. If anybody knows that offhand, that'd be great. 7-year, $6 million with the Reds. I heard the Reds were looking into him as well. No, this is he's a free agent. Okay. He is in his last year. So this is just a rental, man. It looks like there's a club option, or is that the one that already was exercised? Because it says something there that maybe they could continue having him. Hey, hold on. My freaking cat's driving me nuts. I'm going to let her out of here because she was chill, and then we went live, and then I'm going to stay live on TikTok, though. So stay tuned. I'll be right back to all the other people. All right, TikTok. This is backstage. There's the cat losing her mind, trying to get out of here, and we're going to let her get the hell out of here. You stay cat. Go chase rats. Go chase birds. Leave me alone. Go, go, go. All right. We beg you to get back in here now. That cat is sick. Thank you, Danny. I made it. All you got to do is get a Cubs patch and a captain's hat and a hot glue gun, and you're good. All right, I'm back. The cat is in the yard. Hopefully she'll remain there, but it's not bloody likely. She was actually sick last week, and anyway, I can't get this. The cat's ruined the entire show. I know I can't get this back to where it was. There we go. Sorry, TikTok. All right. So Eugenio Suarez, yes, I would love him, but I'm also totally fine with staying with Matt Shaw. You know, I don't think that would be a terrible thing. I just think you need somebody to platoon him with, and that guy is not Justin Turner. What I'm saying is, like, if you could get somebody that was just like kind of a bat first guy, that you weren't trying to just totally fill the position and move Matt Shaw into the background, then either way, it's an upgrade, and you take that upgrade anywhere you get it. I think the Cubs' bigger need right now, and this is what everybody's talking about right now, because it's the trade deadline, and so we discuss trades. I really don't like discussing the specifics of trades. I just like to identify what we may need, and that is obviously a starting pitcher, because even though everybody's expecting Tyone to come back, we don't know how injured is he. Is he just kind of out of it for the season? Is it going to take a second to get going? We all know that as we get older, that your body fails you more often than it did before, and you don't spring back quite as well. So when you hurt it, it takes longer to heal it. And he's not that old of a guy, but he's old enough that it's starting to get on the other side of these things, I've got my crazy cat lady mug tonight, and I've also got drinking my yerba mate tea. So anyway, I'll look back in the chats and stuff. If anybody has anything they want to talk about, things that are on their mind tonight, that's really what this is all about. So put it in the chat, and we can continue on from there. But, people, let's look at this Diamondbacks roster. It's apparently they're in the process of selling off because they've had a disappointing season. And, would you like to get a couple? I mean, Zach Gallen, heck of a pitcher. He was a Cy Young guy a couple of years ago. I mean, did he win it? I think he won it. Or he was runner up or something like that. He was way up there. This year, he's totally fallen apart. And you wonder, what's that about? Sandy Alcantara, same story. He's not good. It's totally falling apart. But look at what team he's on. Maybe he would be better on a better team. Look how much better our Cubs are doing this year because Kyle Tucker's on the team. All of a sudden, everything we said, they lengthened the lineup with Kyle Tucker, and it's good. That is the same with somebody like adding Zach Gallen to your squad. He's been out there a lot, 121 innings pitched as well. So would I trade for Zach Gallen and Eugenio Suarez in a freaking heartbeat? But the problem is what do we really have that other teams want? Unless this is just a straight salary dump for them that they get to like not pay the last like, 5 million bucks they owe everybody, then fine. Then you can get a good deal for that and you don't have to send them that good of prospects. But, you know, if you have like, if you're going to send like your top two, like Moises Ballesteros for like a little rental of Eugenio Suarez when you have Matt Shaw, well, that's just kind of like malfeasance, wouldn't you say? Do you think we will trade for pitching? Here's the interesting thing about the trade deadline overall. I don't know what the Cubs are going to do. They're expecting Javier Assad to come back. That might be enough that they think that they would have enough down the stretch to get a long run in with just what they have. But could you use pitching? Absolutely. Are you going to get Tyone back? Ostensibly. Are you going to get Assad back? Ostensibly. Is that going to be enough? Ostensibly. With the bullpen shuttle, if enough guys get healthy down the line, is that going to be enough? Can Palencia be the dude to be nails at the end of a ball game? I mean, all these things, they add up to, yes, we need help, but yes, we could also do it without the help. So they find themselves in this place where do they really want to sell everything that they have in the farm, like have Hug Watch and double and triple A, where, your Ballesteros is gone, your Jackson. I mean, who are the Cubs top 10 prospects right now? I have not seen a Cubs top prospects. Let's see their ranking here. Owen Casey. All right. Well, these are the obvious one. Moises Ballesteros, Jefferson Rojas, Kevin Alcantara, and Jackson Wiggins, Jonathan Long, Pedro Ramirez, Ryan Gallagher, Brandon Birdsell, who I believe has been hurt, and James Triantos. I mean, you kind of get down into the Christian Franklins and like Jack Neely, like people liked him. He even took I think he was up for a bit. But you've got some guys. None of them have been able to prove themselves except for at the AAA level. And it depends if there is a need on those other teams, whether you can make that trade. And will it, punt? Will it make the Cubs punt in the future? In a way, but the Cubs' MO has been to buy these guys anyway. Tom says, do you really want to trade Casey with Tucker being a possible walk and Happen-Say contract's coming up soon? I mean, really, if I'm really playing 4D chess here, what I think about it is I push all my chips in right now. I go get every starter, every third baseman, and I like DFA guys that aren't working out, like Brujan and stuff like that. Like I totally do upgrades all across the board where it needs. I even maybe bench Hap if he can't figure out how to hit or something like that soon. I maybe do all those things. And I push my chips in. And the reason why is because I believe there's going to be labor strife and that after 2026, there isn't going to be a baseball season. And then you might as well just start again. Just start again at that point. I mean, that is really what I would do. And they're not going to show their hand with that. And like, that's like a pre-lockout probably to the players because they're thinking that too. It's like, oh my God, the Cubs went all in. They're usually cheap. They would then know that the fix was in and we were about to lock out the players. You know what I mean? So, but I do think we'll do something. I mean, we've got to, but I would like it to be, maybe they got a guy that's not in anybody's radar right now that's got maybe an extra year of control after this or an extra 2 years so that like maybe you do get into that lockout kind of thing. It's obvious that we could use the help, but the players that we've had this year have made us one of the best teams in baseball as well. So I'm not going to like look at that and say, oh, I know we've got holes and if we don't fill them that we're doomed. I think that we've got holes in the lineup and that we got holes in the rotation. But if everybody stays healthy and guys that are hurt now get healthy again, then it's kind of stacked again, right? I mean, the offense was freaking clicking and even though I don't think PCA is going to have as monster a second half as he had a first half, because like that's just tough to do. I do think that, they'll they've got a bunch of professional dudes out there who know what they're doing, and that over the course of time, the rest of the season, I mean, being that course of time, that they will make those playoffs and be in for a long run. I do. I think that they've got it in them. I think they're slow and steady wins the race in that way. I don't think losing to Kansas City at home is going to derail them. And I don't think that this team gets their feathers ruffled all that easily. And I think that ultimately Craig Counsell has shown himself to have the wherewithal to be able to put it together. He has not been able to bring home the prize. And the Brewers will be in a very similar situation under drunk old Pat Murphy as they were under his tutelage, because they maybe don't have those professional players with a lot of experience that know how to get through a playoff series. I mean, Ian Happ was around the playoffs. Dansby Swanson was around the playoffs. Nico Horner, Seiya Suzuki was in big games in Japan. PCA's never been there. Michael Bush has been around the Dodgers, even though he wasn't on the team. So, like, these guys, they've had some success in the past. And Shota Imanaga, known as a big game pitcher. You always gave him the ball. I don't know which camera one, camera two. Like, I'm looking at two different cameras. But, to me, it's like you've got enough of a squad to get it done. I mean, I do really wonder if at the end of the day that they'll be able to. They've got a talented bullpen. They have the lowest, though, strikeouts per nine of any team in baseball. And that is quite concerning, because then in those situations, if you're up against a good offense, you could get nickeled and dimed to death easily. I mean, hell, we just saw the freaking Kansas City Royals, the team who had scored the second fewest runs in all of baseball. We just saw them pants the Cubs with offense. So, and they didn't do it, and they did it with the long ball. Well, a couple guys. And the couple guys were doing it with a long ball, but a lot of it was just this dunk and dash hits. And I'm always afraid of that. Steve Sure says, "What's up, Danny? What's up, Steve? Good to see you." Terry E says Jed has said he's not giving up any of his top farm hands for rentals. He wants at least a couple years of control for guys like Moises and Casey. Exactly. He's too conservative and he wants to win all the trades. So that's why, I think you're going to see them pussyfooting around the edges. They're not going to do anything big. They're not going to empty the tank, but that's what they should do. That's what I would do in this situation, only because I think there's going to be labor strife. Also, if you're Jed freaking Hoyer going into your contract year, well, then don't you want to do anything possible? Or are you better off getting the championship belt of saving money from Papa Ricketts, who's, J-Rod says, "Where'd you get that chair?" Well, to be honest, sorry to derail the conversation here, but that's what this is all about. This is a derailable show. You can derail me at any time. The cat already derailed me, and now the chair is derailing me. The chair is actually Bleacher Jeff's chair. We used to live in the same building. He abandoned it. My chair broke. I said to Jeff, "Hey, could I have that chair your grandma gave you?" And he's like, didn't answer me. So I just took the chair. And what this is actually is a cape. This is a Cubs cape made for me by my old neighbor. So it's not a Cubs chair. It's a Cubs cape draped over a chair. And that is how I got committed to the mental institution by doing a show like this where I'm wearing Cubs cape in a Cubs chair. So that is the story behind this. And thanks for joining J-Rod here on the TikTok. I'm over on TikTok, Bleacher Bunch on TikTok. I'm on the YouTubes. I'm on the Twitch. I'm on the X. I'm on the Facebook. I read an article the other day that going online and being excessively online and going live all the time, that, IFG is here. I'm going to invite her. So if she doesn't want to come on, that's fine. But I am inviting you. I won't take it as a personal affront. I understand you might just be doom scrolling. But I am inviting you on to my TikTok live. But I read an article the other day that being online as much as I am online, or anybody, that if you go live stream, it's the new loneliness. And I was like, you know what? That is a pretty appropriate way to put it because, otherwise you're just sitting there in a chair at home reading a book or doing something else. You're like, I really wish I was hanging out with people. I know, I'll pretend I am and I'll go live, but I'm not even pretending. You guys are actually here. Oh, Patty Cakes is here saying go Brewers. All right, you're blocked. You're black, Patty Cakes. But I'll tell you this much. And let me talk about the Brewers for a second, because the Brewers, if this was happening to the White Sox, I'd be the biggest Brewers fan in the world. If they were in here's the thing. This is an underdog team, which we claim to be. We cannot claim to be that. We've got a high payroll. We're spending all this money on these high-priced free agents not every year, but Dansby's not cheap. Ian Happ's extension wasn't cheap. Nico Horner's making money. It's not like some teams like the Brewers that are paying league minimum to just about everybody on the team. Then they bring up Mizorowski, who comes out of freaking second, central casting, looks like he freaking worked next to freaking Laverne and Shirley at the Schlotz Brewery, and he's shoving and making league minimum. It's ridiculous. But, that team, you'd root for them, right? I mean, that is the kind of team that you're like, that's how you put it together. And what is the Cubs' problem? Cubs spent all this money and they don't have a freaking dude working at Schlotz Brewery coming up and shoving and making the All-Star game after 3 freaking starts. White Sox are better than the Cubs. Yeah, well, we'll find that out this weekend, won't we? Because we're playing the White Sox all weekend. And here's the thing that's annoying about that is when you got to play a crosstown rival, which some teams don't have to do because they don't have crosstown rivals. Like I'd say the Brewers are our crosstown rival in reality because they're in our freaking division and they're in first place. But the White Sox, that's just bragging rights in the neighborhood. None of these players grew up in Chicago except like 1 or 2 of them. And they don't care, but they know that we care. And so that matters to them. And they feel the jazzed energy and stuff like that. And they want to win a little bit more. And then the White Sox are going to end up winning a game. And they got the Pope on their side. And they just took 2 or 3 from the Rays. So, you got to, you got to be careful of the White Sox. If you're not looking, I mean, you just lost 2 or 3 to the Royals. You're telling me, you're telling me you can't lose 2 or 3 to the White Sox. It'll be the White Sox best week of the season, and it happened to you. So, very frustrating situation. Having the Brewers, have this sort of momentous run, be all kind of up in our business when we could just be coasting to the promised land, and we're not. And it's our own damn fault. And partly it's the fault of this. I was thinking about this earlier. All right. So we're at the trade deadline and we're like, oh, who are we going to get? Who are we going to get? Who are we going to trade for? Well, or you could be the Dodgers and you could just get everybody before the freaking season started. And who you're going to get is the guy that comes back from injury because they're still in first place and they got guys coming back. So they just lost to the Brewers, but, they're not going to lose for long. Let me look at the standings right now. Let's see where everybody's sitting. Dodgers, they're 4-6 in their last 10, which is probably what the Cubs are. 6-4, actually. So it just feels like 4-6. But this is a team that they've got a great offense. They really do, pretty much head to toe. But they've been hurt. They got Shohei Ohtani on their team. So they are stacked, Shohei Ohtani right there, just like with Aaron Judge being on the Yankees. Like you're just going to feel a little stacked. Like the Yankees have been playing worse. They're 4.5 back actually, but they're 10 over 500. They're chasing the Blue Jays, but these are teams with some really great high powered players, and the Cubs, I lost my train of thought, but the Cubs are kind of one of those teams that has the high power action as well. So why don't we have more? Why don't we have what the Dodgers have? Why didn't we already have Eugenio Suarez? Why didn't we go get Bregman in the offseason instead of just like hoping Matt Shaw was going to work out? Why didn't we, hire Jack Flaherty, who's having a good year? There were things you could have done to have that extra arm, but instead they're like, no, we're going to do some dudes on a minor league deal. And if we need them, we'll bring them up. Well, guess what? They're up now and we're only good enough for a minor league deal. And you just wanted to pay less. You didn't have the roster spot, or so you thought. And now, and that was my original point, is that they should have done this before the season even started. And then you wouldn't be in this predicament wondering who the hell you need at this late in the game. because now you're well, not that you weren't competing against all those other teams back then too. You were competing against all of them, but you had more time. It was a more relaxed atmosphere. Now we know what you need. We know where you are in your season. We know who's hurt, and you're not fooling anybody. You're not. Everybody knows. And if you've got something to sell off, you're going to sell it off. Andy Wells is saying #chance in the chat. I forgot that we were gonna do that, so I will start doing that. This is it's not on TikTok. This part, this is only going to be for the YouTube people. So if you want to win, at least go over there. Stay on TikTok though. I like this TikTok action. Tom says we did not sign Bregman because Tom would not open the checkbook. Yeah, precisely. I'm going to set up this #chance in the chat. So if you want to go to one of those other places and I'm streaming, you can try to win a chance, and I'll give away a chance postcard. I got to show everybody. I've got all these set up, ready to send. I'm so behind on chance right now. This is how far behind I am on chance. I've been trying to get Ranter Fest going, and I should take a moment to talk about Ranter Fest because I'm super excited about it. It's really come together nicely. We've got some great performers, and I was just actually talking to Jeff Rogowskis today, who's going to play cello at Ranter Fest. So we're in for a treat. I got Miguel Esparza singing. We've got just go to sunranto.com/ranterfest. There's also an article up on Cubs Insider right now. You should go read up on it. There's ways you can help out and give. There's hats for sale. There's Rancher Fest shirts for sale. All the proceeds from In the Clutch are going to go to the Lost Boys. That's who we're raising money for. In fact, as far as I'm concerned, if you don't want any of the merch, that's fine. Just give money to Lost Boys. Just give them $20 because Levante knows that it's Ranter Fest time. So anything you give over this kind of time. The other thing is Joe. I talked to Joe from Obvious Shirts. If you go to if you use code Ranter, you will also be giving money to Lost Boys because I'm now in the affiliate program. But there's also a link I've been sharing out there as well. And so you can share that out. You can just use code Ranter, and that will also work as well. You also get 10% off your Obvious Shirts purchase when you do that. So all good stuff. We're trying our best to give back to our community. And if you could just be a part of Ranter Fest in some way, in fact, I hope you come because that's really where the fun is going to be. It's like we're doing live bitch clock. We are doing we're going to do Ranto, which is bingo, but we're playing Ranto. We're going to have a song from Miguel Esparza is going to sing the national anthem, and he said he's going to work on it, so I'm not sure. He may sing it in Spanish, so I hope he's going to do that, but we'll see if he wants to. And then there's also Sandra Marchetti's doing poetry. So it's going to be a lot of fun, and mostly we're just going to hang out with each other. Then we got comedy on the second half at Output Lounge, and if you can only come to one or the other, just like $15 donation at the door to Lost Boys, that gets you in. We're just doing whatever we can to raise money for them. That's why we're all donating our time. We're all making this merch, and we just to have a fun day together and hang out. So I hope to see you at Ranter Fest. Go to sunranto.com/ranterfest. All the information is there, or on Cubs Insider. So back into this. So #chance. Yeah, #chance. We got Little Yumper, Joey saying it. We have also Andy Wells. So Sox beat the Cubs tomorrow. Brandon James says, well, let's take a look at these matchups, shall we? Shall we take a look at these matchups, Cubs versus Sox? First of all, I won't be caught dead on the South side. Like half these games, these people are just going to fight. It's annoying. Oh, see, now I clicked on the wrong thing, and now I'm going to Ticketmaster. So, all right, here we go. Well, Imanaga, I don't know if you win this one. Versus Adrian, how's your dick? Adrian Hauser. Now, there's somebody that actually might get traded before his start, to be honest. This guy, and he's a Craig Counsell special. This guy played on the Brewers for Craig from 2015 to 2023. And this year on the Sox, somehow, well, he's only pitched 62 innings, but he's got a 1.89 ERA in 10 games, 10 starts. And But here's something a little concerning. They're betting 251 off of him, which is not that low. So he's definitely a pitch to contact guy. So he gives up a few hits, 57 in 62 innings pitched, 44 strikeouts, not a strikeout guy. So this might be somebody that could be an innings eater this could be a kind of a preview of a guy that maybe we'd go get. Now, I know the Cubs and Sox don't do a lot of deals, but I can see it happening. Imanaga, though, he's going to carve up the White Sox. Oh, my God. Tom says, in all honesty, Sox's kids are playing well. That's what you're afraid of, is that these kids are, as a Cubs fan, you're afraid that some of these young guys, they got something to prove. And the Cubs, they got their back up against the wall. They're breathing down the neck of the Brewers right now. And if they don't figure it out soon, they're going to end up a wild card team at best. And the Brewers will run away with the division because right now it's their division to lose. And that's just math. I'm looking up Imanaga's. Did he play the White Sox before? He did not. But I will look up our numbers, the guys' numbers against each other. It looks like, nobody has more than 3 at bats against Imanaga. And Slater's 1 for 3. Hauser and Talkman to the Cubs for prospects. Yeah, I would actually be fine with that, Terry, because Talkman, I think he'd be a huge upgrade off the bench. I really do. You get, not that you need it because you got Suzuki, but you get another 4th outfielder. So it's really a 5th outfielder, but it's really more of a bench bet that you're looking for. But I think, to be honest, they need a right-handed bat. Andrew says, you think we get Suarez? Yeah, we talked about that earlier. I actually don't think we'll do it. I think that it goes on the move, but I think they're going to stick with Matt Shaw. I really do, because if they wouldn't have started after the All-Star break with him, or maybe they need him just for defensive reasons right now, but he had a couple home runs since the All-Star break ended. And so and he's batting well. I mean, what did his week look like? I'm not going to take it all off of 1 week, but he had a good week. Let's see, last 7 days we're going to look at, and Matt Shaw, he is 3 home runs. And he's not a qualified player, so we're going to all player it. And Matt Shaw leads the Cubs in OPS over the week. So that's terribly small sample size, but he's got 9 hits. 9 hits. I got to play the drop. It's the law.
9 times.
9 hits.
9 times.
So, I think we stick with him. I do see us maybe getting a right-handed bat. Maybe for off the bench. What's Patrick Wisdom doing? Justin Turner, I guess, he's just part of this team. But unless he starts bringing that ball sack out a little bit more, he's got an OPS of 455 on the week. So, year to date, Justin Turner has a 582 OPS. That's not who you want off the bench. That's just not good enough. The guy, he's batting, and somebody pointed out, Ballhawk Dave pointed out to me the other day that he has been clutch, and his clutch numbers are there. He's batting .211. That's his average. But if you do runners in scoring position, which I will right now, bases, runners in scoring position. Here we go. Then he improves considerably. And where is he? Oh, yeah. And he's the 4th best on the team. 333 Rispy. So he knows what he's doing in that department. I know clutch isn't a thing, but it is a thing. We all know it's a thing. So he's able to come through because he's relaxed, because he's done this a long time, and because he's like in the last year of his career, probably. And he would like to go out with a bang. Wisdom has 21 bombs and 53 ribbies in KBO. Great. Thank you for that, Sadistic Penguin Studios. Yeah, we all knew that Patrick Wisdom can hit them loud and long and far. We knew that already. The question was really always, was it going to work off the bench in major league pitching and all that stuff? And really, what use did he have on this team once he started becoming expensive? But right now, he's exactly kind of who you would want. So unfortunately, I don't think he's going to come back. And I don't think they want him back. I think they're fine with who they have. I mean, it's really the Vidal Brujan that I'm looking at the end of the lineup that could probably go. But yeah, what else? Cubs are going to the World Series, or do you think that's a stretch? I mean, our team is we can do it. Yeah, I mean, I actually do think we can go to the World Series. I'm counting on it. Because if you look around the rest of the league, well, let's first you got to beat the National League. Those are the teams you got to beat, and who's going to be there in the end of it. Cubs should be there. I think the Cubs win the division still. We're a game back, big deal. Brewers are going to fade. Don't worry about it. They're not going to win 55 games in a row. They're not. So I think the Cubs get back into it. Benny Lacombe saying Merrill Kelly or Lugo. Yeah, I think that would help. Both those guys would help. Any help that you decide to get, I'm fine with. If it's Suarez, you do that. And, Matt Shaw, he's back up next year. He still plays. I don't know if they probably get rid of Brujan at that point, right? And Matt Shaw's the new Brujan, something like that. I would guess, even though Brujan can play more positions, but Matt Shaw can play second base. He came up as a second base. Is there any more news on Kyle Tucker knee injury? I mean, these guys are getting banged up at this time. We also just saw PCA, getting banged up. So I do think, you need a better bench, and we said that before the season started, that you needed to improve the bench, and they didn't really do it. They just kind of switched out guys. I don't see it as better personally. So anything you could do to reinforce the troops, I think you do. But getting into like beating the rest of the National League, hey man, the Reds are there. Reds are sitting there. I'm going to start with them as like the most outside chance of somebody that could screw you, but they've been beating the Cubs in the recent years. We still got a bunch of games against them. So be careful of the Reds because they're not a pushover. The Brewers, obviously not a pushover. They've got enough players. They believe in themselves. I do believe they fall back, but still, the Brewers have a heck of a chance of at least making the playoffs. I think they do. Just to derail me here, what do we do with Happ hitting? I believe he gets to his numbers. I think Ian Happ gets back to his numbers. It's going to be a thing of beauty. Like the calendar is going to turn over to August 1st, next Friday against the Orioles. Boom, Happ, 3 dogs, and he's just off to the races that rest of the year, and we're good to go. I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's going on with him right now, but he's still taking his walks. So, and he hit the ball hard the other day, and it was so hard that the third baseman couldn't handle it. So maybe that's a good sign. Either way, you're not getting rid of Happ. You're not trading out left fielders because Happ's a disaster. You're just going to stick with him at this point. Maybe you give him a day or two here and there. Maybe he needs a reset of some kind, and you give him an extra day off here and there. I think that could work, but none of these guys want to be out. And Steve Scherr says the Reds are in on Suarez, which makes a lot of sense. He is an ex-Red. They know what they've got. Suarez would feel comfortable there. He'd probably be with it. But Patty Cake says no, Suarez won't help the Reds this year. I mean, but if you're the Reds and you've got room in your payroll to do a little bit more than you're currently doing, then you just go ahead and you do it. You get Suarez, you show your fans that you're trying, and the Cubs are like, yeah, we already spent a lot of money. That's their world of it. That's what they think about it. And so you got some tough teams. I mean, you got 4 teams over 500 in our division. And that's because, let's face it, like the National League's just tough. We've been making more hay against the National League's been making hay against the AL, and the National League has far more wins than the American League does this year because we have 4 teams over 500. The East only has 2, the Mets and the Phillies. I'm scared of both those teams, but not so much the Phillies. I think that they're just kind of old and little old hat at this point. The Mets, you got to be scared of because they just have some great players. They spent a lot of money as well. Maybe it pays off for them with in the long run, and they bought themselves a team that could do it. Dodgers obviously spent a lot of money. Got to have a backup for a backup. They're going to get a bunch of guys back. Padres are good. They're 8 over 500. I'm scared of them because in 1984. And then the Giants are 5 up. And the Diamondbacks, they're not that far out of it. They're only 3 under. But they're looking around the National League and they're saying, oh, my God, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 teams above 500 out of 15 in the National League. And that right there is enough to tell you how tough it is going to be for the Cubs. The Cubs decided to be good at a time when the National League is good. All right, I'm going to go check on my cat. I'm going to bring the TikTok audience with me. You can go check on my cat with me. And then I'm going to play a little commercial here for Bleacher Bunch. And please join us on our Patreon. It's patreon.com/Bleacher Bunch. We have all these great shows. We have Baseball Rabbit Hole, Cubs PS Plus. We've got Bricks Behind the Ivy. We've got Cubs Pod, which is a daily podcast that you get only if you're a Patreon member, and also Cup of Cubby Blue. So anyway, it's a bunch of us all there working hard to make Cubs fandom enhanced for you. And we just appreciate $1 a month to help us along our way. Also, like the live, tap your screen, like this live if you're watching on the Tickety Talk. Share it if you're watching on any other platform, Facebook, YouTube, any of those places. So just like it. That just helps us all. And helps get the word out about the show, and we're trying to get the word out about helping Lost Boys. So that's a great word to get out, don't you think? So thanks for being here, and I'm just going to play a quick commercial for everybody on YouTube, but if you want to head on over to the TikTok, that's where I'll be checking where my cat is. All right, we'll be right back.
The Bleacher Bunch brings you great shows like Sun Ranto, Cubs PS Plus, Bricks Behind the Ivy, Cup of Cubby Blue, and Baseball Rabbit Hole. But you could be getting so much more when you subscribe to our Patreon page for as little as $1 a month at patreon.com/Bleacher Bunch. Get access to our exclusive daily show Cubs Pod, where we recap every single game. Plus, be the first to hear Cubs music, get early access to events, and receive an invitation to join our Discord Cubs community, where fans just like you show up every day to rant and rave about our beloved boys in blue. Most importantly, 10% of your Patreon pledge will go directly to help the Lost Boys Youth Baseball program. So join us. There are perks at every level, like the Renter Calendar, absolutely free, and name recognition for you or your business. We are independent Cubs podcasters, and we need your support. Otherwise, we'll quit. Seriously, we'll all quit. Some of us might even die from your lack of support. In fact, the cutest little puppy you've ever seen will die if you don't support the Bleacher Bunch at patreon.com/Bleacher Bunch. We promise to spend all the Patreon money on tickets and beer and all the dumb crap we have to buy just to keep our podcast rolling. So give us your money, and we'll waste it far better than you will. Patreon.com/Bleacher Bunch. Free trials are available, but don't do a free trial. Just join, okay? Okay. Patreon.com/Bleacher Bunch.
In the clutch. Buy t-shirts from In the Clutch. Take it from the Bleacher Bunch. You'll love the shirts from In the Clutch.
In the Clutch shirts are comfortable, stylish, and guaranteed to get you laid. Plus, they're proud sponsors of the Bleacher Bunch. Use promo code Bleacher Bunch for 10% off your purchase.
Nice to feel and soft to touch. That's why you will get laid so much. Wearing a shirt from In the Clutch. And you can thank the Bleacher Bunch.
In the clutch. Buy t-shirts from In the Clutch. Remember the code Bleacher Bunch. Save 10% at In the Clutch. In the Clutch.
In the Clutch shirts actually not really guaranteed to get you laid.
And it's got hey, we're back on the YouTube, and if you're watching, buy an In the Clutch shirt. Use code SUNRANTO. You get 10% off your purchase. And any money we make from our affiliate program, both on obvious shirts, when you use code RANTER or code SUNRANTO on In the Clutch, and you will get 10% off your purchase at both sites. And you'll also be helping the Lost Boys. So that's we'll be giving all the money to them. Yeah, that's what we do. So let's get back into looking around the major leagues and seeing who we're scared of. Actually, let me finish the National League first. Who am I scared of that I think we might face in the playoffs? Brewers, obviously. Just because, but how exciting would that be? Cubs, Brewers in the playoffs. We saw that what happened with that, 1-game playoff and stuff. It did not go well for us. But a 5-game series, a 7-game series, just going back and forth between Miller Park and Wrigley. I mean, I'm here for it. I want the Brewers to be good. It also makes it more fun for us during the season that the Brewers are good, because if this was too easy, it wouldn't be fun. It just wouldn't be. So just be happy that there's a Brewers that you could be mad at. And they're not going to, and as I said, they're not going to be doing this forever. They're a good team. They just got Woodruff back too. So they got the pitching. They could carve us out, but we're going to know those guys. Coach will have faced those guys going into the playoffs. So we'll have a feather in our cap. They'll have faced our guys too, though. So, but they're rookies. Like, we can do this. We'll take them. Then, Reds, I think they got an outlier chance. They have more of a chance of spoiling it. I'm more scared of the Reds than anybody, just because they've been beating us. You know what I mean? So they could just play spoiler. Mets, I'm scared of, as I said, for the reasons that they just have a strong team that they spent a lot of money on. Dodgers, same thing. Padres, 1984, I mentioned. The Phillies are old, but, they got that magic kind of softball team. I could see them kind of, all those teams are I can see it going either way. So basically, if the Cubs run into a stroke of hot luck at the end of the season and into the playoffs, then I can see it going our way. I could see us having that magic in us and having that 24-karat magic in the air. Now, after that, you only have to worry about one other team, and that's whoever runs the gauntlet in the AL. I have no idea who it'll be. I think the Tigers is kind of a paper tiger just because they play in such a weak division. As far as, the AL as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 teams under 500. So it's weaker. The AL's weaker. So whoever gets through that gauntlet, and I don't really know who to pick. The Astros are right back there, which is kind of a surprise, but they got Cam Smith and now they're just off to the races. Blue Jays are a bit of a surprise, aren't they? I think everybody thought the Yankees would be back there. And it could be that the Red Sox, they went on a little run for a second there, but there's some teams that might be looking to shuffle their own decks at this point. And, they're like, not necessarily, do one of those sell buy things. Like, I could see the Red Sox doing that. I could see the Cubs doing that. Do a sell buy, where, they kind of, they move on from some dudes that they don't believe in, maybe out of their minor league system. Not that they don't believe in. For example, I think Moises Ballesteros, I just don't think they believe in him. And they don't believe in guys like that. They think the only reason they just think he's just a hitter, and they like guys that can do a lot of different things. And, even if Moises Ballesteros hits the most home runs of anybody that ever lived, I still think that the Cubs would be like, yeah, he's not our type of player. You know what I mean? I can see him moving on from him. And then at the same time, getting something that maybe has value because it's, gives you 3 years of control, but he's not like a top end pitcher, but he's like somebody in the middle of a rotation that you can kind of like build a rotation around, I could see him doing that, because Jed's conservative. Jed's a really conservative GM. He doesn't really put it all out on the line all that much. He certainly isn't going to make any big blockbusters in this offseason, especially when that's how Tommy Boy likes it. Let's face it, Tommy Boy is a conservative too in a lot of ways. And frankly, he wants to run this thing like, like a business, in that, like, there's a certain margin that he wants to hit. There's a certain, he's not willing to like go past that. I think it's out of his comfort zone to, he knows that he can keep those bleachers packed. And if he can keep it Wrigley an Instagrammable place, if he can just like, keep the sun shining and keep the beer flowing and keep the rich kids coming in there and spending all their money, because he has no, why the hell, listen, we're in second place and we make more money than anybody with the fans. The fans are buying every jersey. I saw Kaplan yesterday in the bleachers. He's got a brand new jersey. Even Kaplan bought a jersey. He's not really like a jersey guy, I don't think, that much, but he's like, hey, I like those powder blue ones. Well, they sell them to everybody. I see them everywhere. They made so much money on that. Oh my God. Can you imagine if millions of people each gave you $300? I mean, you're not seeing it on the field. So, as far as like the money goes, like they're not going up and above, like, they're even talking about, oh, the Cubs, they got like 30 million to spend. No, they don't. That's Tom's money. He doesn't want that going out of his pocket. They're going to stay. They went over the tax accidentally, which was ridiculous. They're resetting, baby. They're not blowing through that. Don't get your hopes up. This is not, when they'll do it? Next year. Next year they'll do it. They'll try to win. That's the plan. Then they'll push in, because then they got the labor strife, and they'll probably just do a total like dodge and weave, and they'll spend a bunch of money in this next offseason knowing full well they won't have to pay it the year after. So, that's the dodge and weave of it. It's like an under promise or over promise, under deliver. The OPUD, the old OPUD. So, Sadistic Penguin Studio saying, here's a trade for you. What about trading for Yu Darvish? Coming off an injury, could be cheaper than Cease or Gallen. Yeah, sure, but don't the Padres want him? Padres are right there. I didn't even mention the wild card of it. I kind of did, just judging by who was good, but right now the Padres are in it. So I think they'd want to keep, unless they got another pitcher that they could use right now, or had another guy that they thought could replace Yu Darvish from their system. So I don't see it happening. And that's the other problem with the National League, is like, you're better off shopping in the AL, because even the Marlins are in it for the right now. I would say the only teams that are out of it, surprisingly, the Braves at 10.5 out, Pirates at 13.5, Nationals at 14 out, and the Rockies, of course, at 29 games out. Only won 26 games, which the White Sox have won 37. So I don't know what's happened with that. There was a point in which Baseball Prospectus had still said that the White Sox were going to finish with a worse record than the Rockies. I don't think that's going to be true anymore. Nip of courage. But yeah, you got to shop in the AL, because but actually, even in the AL, like, you got teams under 500, Twins are 5 games out of the wild card. And then it drops off from there. The Orioles at 9 under. But 13 games out, A's, 17.5 White Sox. I mean, you can go shopping at the White Sox, but that crosstown penalty is going to hurt you. Padres are rumored to be dangling Cease. I mean, if the Padres want to give up, that's fine, but that's going to really disappoint their fan base. I mean, they are right there. They are a playoff team right now. So, that would be, if they sold off at their starting pitching, that's what everybody's looking for. For a bag of prospects, like, I do not think that Padres fans would take too kindly to that. And, Giants fans would love it, because they're a game and a half out of the wild card right now, and they're in the same division as the West, as the Padres and the Dodgers. So, but look, like, you've got all these teams sniffing wild cards. The Reds, they're not giving up anything. They're 2.5 out. Cardinals, they're not giving up anything, even though they're only a game over. They're 3.5 out of the wild card. Diamondbacks 5.5. Marlins 6.5. Like they're not giving up anything. So there really are only, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4 teams in the National League, and I would say 3 teams in the American League. That's 7 teams. It's about 1/4 of the league. And then some of those teams are going to do sell buys and show to the fans that they're, maybe nobody does anything. Maybe everybody is so like, well, we're just all going to play each other to even anyway. Let's just see what happens with what we've got. And that is my fear of what the Cubs will do, which is a strategy because, not a good one, but it is a strategy for the future, I should say, because then you go into next year and you didn't lose any of your prospects. But, and then you're saying to Owen Casey, like, hey, we think that you could come up and do it too. But, I don't know. Like, all you prospect huggers out there, you drive me nuts. Until the guy's up here doing what PCA's doing, I just don't care. Like, until you can be excited. You'd be like, hey, this guy looks pretty good. Like, I hear from my friends that go see a lot of minor league baseball. Like, hey, this guy, Jefferson Rojas, really opened my eyes. And you're like, okay, well, I'm going to take a look at Jefferson Rojas then and, look up his stats and be like, hey, he's doing good. But until Jefferson Rojas is banging doubles off the wall at Wrigley Field and there's like freaking guys running into Ivy trying to cut down his balls, or he's sliding around making Dansby Swanson-esque plays, I don't really care. Right now, he just is a trade chip. Because if you have a chance to win the World Series, and you do. And what you think, what Jed Hoyer thinks, not what you think, not what I think. It doesn't matter what we think. But what Jed Hoyer thinks that he needs to beat the rest of the NL, because you got to beat all of those teams. And then that I mentioned, and then you got to beat just the one AL team. And that doesn't seem as hard, although it is the World Series. So there you go. I mean, that's, the trade season since the third wild card has become something, and it's good. That means there's more equity in baseball, not necessarily equity, parity, I think is the real word that I'm looking for. Parity in baseball. That, you got only a couple powerhouses and a big middle. So it's funny how like these billionaires, they love creating a middle class, but only in baseball, not in reality. And that they just want to impoverish everybody and pretty much like enslave you. So that's for a different podcast and possibly a different channel. Anything else going on out there? We're butting up on an hour here, here on the TikTok and on the feed out here. But I'll add this. I mean, Rock on Joe from Obvious Shirts. I freaking love that guy. The Mom Shrine shirt was stolen. Or it blew away. I mean, you never know. And it was replaced within a day by Joe from Obvious Shirts. What a freaking king among men. It's such a touching gesture in the first place that he even put it up there, and that it lasted through the 3 seasons of Chicago is no small feat with the winters that we have here. And then for it to go away and then be up again in no time is just such a beautiful, beautiful gesture from Joe from Obvious Shirts. Please support his company. He is a small business. Support In the Clutch too. Support them both. I mean, they have different kind of shirts, and different kind of styles of clothes, and they're friends with each other. But Joe met Billy, and Billy was so excited because he was a little scared of Joe, and but because Joe's like the big man, he really is. And so, but he doesn't act like it. So, and David Elliott says, you're right. There is more parody in baseball. And by parody, you mean, the parody of Rocket Man called Basket Man that I wrote this week, which I will end the show with at some point here soon. Trying to remember if there's anything else I really wanted to talk about. I mean, everybody's talking about the same thing. I could talk about this. I went to the game with Cody Del Mendo the other day. He was recently canned by Chuggo. And I say that disgustedly because that was really unfair, I thought, to get fired over that. I mean, it, was pretty messed up what he said, but it wasn't really messed up. It was just kind of one of those like, oh, come on, man, don't say that. one of those things. And at that point, you should just be like, okay, well, just take a little break. Don't go on social media. Come back in a week, and everything's gonna be fine. Fine. Everybody will have been they would have forgotten about it. Caleb in the chat saying, I think I just threw up. Well, hopefully you got to a toilet in time, Caleb, because it would suck if you ruined those nice shoes of yours. So anyway, it's a shame that Cody got canned, but really, I think what's happening over there is that they're just kind of shifting off of baseball. I think that football, that's the big money maker. So they think baseball is every day. And they're not like, here's the example. They're not going to replace Cody, and they had Cody on as the voice of the fan. And I think that they want more Cub access. They want real access in that clubhouse. They already had it up in the press box, but they want to build something that's like a real sports network. And they try to straddle that line between fandom and real newscaster. And it's tough to do because and nobody can do it. Like I guess Barstool is now trying. They're going to be in with the NFL now a lot more, but Barstool for years and years just did the fan thing. Bleacher Nation stayed with the fan thing until they went with the lawyer, what's his name, Ankin Law. But that's still like a neighborhood family ambulance chasing law firm. But it's just like, it's all about the ad dollars, right? And so if Chuggo's sitting there thinking that they can get more money by being a legitimate news organization and selling gambling to the bros in the way that they want to do it, as opposed to having Cody chug beer bats while doing it, well, then it's, they're definitely going to, go that route. They're not going to keep somebody. Labor is expensive. They had to pay Cody, a living wage to be over there doing shows for them about the Cubs every day. And if they could use any reason to push him out, they did. And I think that's what happened there. That's what he think happened too. So, I heard a little bit more of the story. It's really not at liberty to tell, but it's really not all that interesting either. It just was like a lot of he said, and, in the end, what happened. But it's, in my estimation, it's pretty unfair firing. I feel bad because the guy lost his gig, So go follow his new thing. If you're a fan, like, you don't have to, don't listen to me if you don't want to do it. But Wrigleyville Forever is what he's doing with Blake Cowell. And Blake's a new guy on the scene too. He's working over at Cubs Insider. And, we have so many voices. That's a competition for me and some of the other ranter people and stuff like that, or the other podcast people. But I don't view it that way. I don't view anybody as competition. It's like we all have a voice. We all put it out there in whatever way we want to. And people can respond accordingly, and, we're all sort of competing for the same ears at the same times. And, like you're on your commute, you're on your jog, you're at the gym. What are you going to listen to? You're going to listen to Sun Rancher, you're going to listen to Locked On Cubs. Like, I say listen to both, get the perspective of everybody out there and give everybody your ears at least a couple of times. You'll probably fall in with somebody who their voice speaks to you more than others. And you should listen to people you disagree with too, as well, because that's the only way you learn stuff. So I used to listen to conservative talk radio all the time, like Rush Limbaugh and stuff like that. Sadistic Penguin. Sports is too competitive. That's why we talk movies. Yeah, I mean, and I kind of want to talk politics. Like I'd sit here and debate politics with people, but everybody says stick to sports, so I'll do that for the time being. There's the detective inactivity. I got to prove I'm a real human being again. Welcome to everybody that's joined this live today. I know there's been a bit of a churn. People, I see Ted Pickett is here right now. Charlie Hermosil is here. How you doing, Charlie? We're just here talking about the Cubs on a Thursday night. Normally we do a show. It's called the Bleacher Bunch. Last week we had on DJ Carrasco. And that was awesome, talking to him about Native nations and what he's doing with some of the Native American kids and giving them life lessons through baseball. It's really important work. And that's what we try to do by helping out the Lost Boys as well. So, and thank you for the chili, Joey. Joey just gave me a chili. It's really nice of you. So hashtag chance in the chat, by the way. And we are going to do that, even though there's only like 4 people. We have more people on the TikTok, which is great. But so yeah, about the Cubs, I mean, geez, we just have to kind of wait and see with this stuff. I hate to say it. We are really in a wait and see place. I mean, I really do think they're going to get out of this tailspin against the White Sox. I do. They're going to at least win 2 or 3. I mean, it'd be nice to get the sweep, but it just never happens. I was going to look up what else was going on this for the rest of the series. So tomorrow at 6:40, it is Imanaga and Hauser. I think the Cubs have a good chance on taking that one. And then it'll be 6:10 Central, and going up, it's Horton. I think that could be tough. He's going but he did pitch against the White Sox before against Aaron Savale. And Savale, he's another one that could be on the move. Here's a guy, 30 years old. This would be a Cubs guy that they'd go get, like mid-fill it. He's not very good. He's got a 476 earned run average. I don't know. He was on Milwaukee before. So, Craig Counsell special. I mean, these are outgetters. If they like what they see, they may get him. Cade Horton, this is a guy that I thought might be sent back down after his time in the rotation, but he pitched his way on here. But let's see if he can stay because, frankly, last time he was out there, it was really good. 5.2 innings against Boston. We lost the game, but he gave up no runs on 2 hits. So I freaking love everything that's going on with all that. So, and then the final game, let's just cap it off with that. Talk about it. Sunday this is the 1:10 start. And we got a TBD on that sucker. So I don't know who's going for the Cubs. And it's probably Colin Ray's turn because it's always freaking Colin Ray's turn. They had the day off. So it won't be Colin Ray's. He pitched the other day. But I don't know if they'll put, Ben Brown again. Give him another shot at it. But he'll be going up against Sean Burke, who is in his second year with the White Sox. And he's pitched a lot of innings this year, 101. And he's got a 4.19 ERA. And I don't know. I don't know what else to tell you. I don't know much about that guy. Except for that we should beat him because he's freaking Sean Burke. And we're the goddamn Chicago Cubs. You know what I mean? So anyway, I will play a final song here. Thanks for tuning in. Make sure you like, subscribe, do all those things that you do when you're enjoying something on the interwebs these days. And I'm going to play the brand new song Basket Man for the people on the YouTubes and the Facebooks. And I'll just sign off here on the TikTok right after that song ends. And but oh yeah, chance, hashtag chance in the chat. So I'll show everybody how this works on the TikTok. You can see my light here. So I'm gonna share my screen. I got the giveaway tool here. It shows up there. There's only 3 entries right now, and we're gonna pick one. It's gonna be one of 3 guys, and the winner is gonna be David, Little Yumper, or it's going to be David. Congratulations, David. You are the winner of the hashtag chance. And now you win a Frank Chance postcard sent to you by me with a message of love and doom. And I will now play Basket Man. So, spagog, y'all.
He gets the early bleacher line, sits in the first row out and left, and he will almost die right by Bleacher Jeff. He sits down in the well, rain or shine. He comes to every game, but a ball's gonna fly tonight. He got a little overzealous this time, went for the ball ball and then he took a dive, wedged between fencing and the outfield wall. Oh no, 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 he's a basket man. Basket man, climbing back to throw a dummy ball. Now he's just as infamous as my Thai guy who stole a basketball and made kids cry. I bet obvious will make him a shirt. Oh no, 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 he's a basket man. Basket man, climbing back to throw a dummy ball. And he's climbing back to throw a dummy ball. And he's climbing back to throw a dummy ball. And he's climbing back to throw a dummy ball. And he's climbing back to throw a dummy